Man, I sure do hope these changes are enough. So the Carolina Panthers made big changes to the roster recently, adding a couple of pieces to the roster, some guys that are going to come in for help's sake. One of them we kind of know and understand the reason behind why you would bring him in, and that would be Nick Samak, right? I hope I'm saying that right, Samak, one or the other. But you bring him in because obviously Austin Corbett is hurt. You need some depth at the center position. So bring in someone who may not have had a lot of opportunities to really show what he could do in, a place like the Ravens, right? Because of, how great their situation is at center and pretty much the offensive line as a whole. But at least he gets, he's got some experience. He comes in and in the event, the unfortunate event that Cade Mays, gets injured, you've got an option for someone to come in and a body that you can put there in that situation. But I think that Cade obviously is in my opinion, an upgrade. We've seen some struggles from Austin Corbett as of late, high snaps, some situational awareness stuff and things like that. But at the same time, you never want to, wish bad on any guy or anything like that because, he's been someone who's put so much and invested so much to come back from injuries over the last few years. I want to say it's something like he's missed like 25 games over the last 4 seasons or something like that. And so that's really difficult, to see a guy go through in that manner. So prayers up to Austin Corbett. Hopefully he recovers, maybe even see him back this year in some capacity. Although I will say, in all honesty, I think that Cade Mays is probably going to play really well. So I don't know that I would necessarily want to see Austin Corbett back at center. Austin Corbett, and historically, from my understanding, has been a really great guard. And that's kind of what we brought him in to do at one point as well. So I'd like to see him maybe get an opportunity to go back to, what he knows and what he's done the best. Now, another signing that we made was really interesting, and that's I'm going to try to pronounce this, Maema Njongmeta. I hope I said it right. I'm sorry if I messed it up. But this is a really interesting signing to me. We claimed him off the practice squad, the Cincinnati Bengals. He did play in all 17 games last year with the Bengals. Briefly became a starter during the 2024 season, according to the Cincinnati Enquirer. We signed him, obviously he recovered a punt last year in Dallas. And this is really interesting to me. And here's the reason why. It's interesting because, to me, it doesn't make a ton of sense when you think about the depth that we have at linebacker right now. But it makes all the sense in the world when you look at the linebacker play, right? So I don't know if they're just trying to, maybe this is more special teams help. Maybe there's an injury that I'm not aware of, one that I didn't mention that's out there. But this, again, just feels like one of those things that's just like, it just seems out of left field, right? But I always know that you're trying to do everything you can to, create opportunities for competition. And maybe they see something with this kid that, they're like, hey, you think you can catch lightning in the bottle to some degree. I don't know that this kid will see the field anytime soon. But then again, you never know. We've had some struggles at linebacker. I'm, sure we're all aware of that, right? We can all admit to that. So I don't know if this is like I said, competition, or if maybe there's something here that they see in him. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments if you know a little bit more detail about the reason why you think that something like this happens. And then the Carolina Panthers released their official depth chart going into next week. And I mean, there's not really a whole lot of surprises here. Obviously, wide receiver, Teddy McMillan, David Moore. And then when we really look at the offensive line, like that looks a little different. We got Ike Ekwonu back, Damian Lewis. Now, here's one thing that I am a little bit surprised with. Chandler Zavala, when he got his opportunity, did actually play okay. But the biggest thing with Chandler Zavala was I just felt like Brady Christensen was one of those players who would just have fared a little bit better, in my opinion. I feel like Brady Christensen has just he had a market, right? There was a market for him. And if you're Brady Christensen, I'd be lying to say that I wouldn't feel away, to some degree, because I'm like, unless there's something else we don't know, obviously we're not in the room. We don't know how all these things are working out. But man, I stayed around. There was going to be a market for me out there, right? I'm probably the most versatile lineman on this team, maybe one of the most versatile in the whole NFL, right? I could play left tackle snaps. I thought that maybe he would get a chance whenever Ike Ekwonu got hurt. Obviously didn't happen. In the situation with the other guard situation, Chandler Zavala with Robert Hunt being down with the biceps injury, Chandler Zavala clearly must have shown something, in camp that's just like, hey, this guy's ready. Obviously, he played pretty well. He played pretty well the other day. And so you want to build on that. But I just kind of felt like Brady Christensen would have gotten that opportunity, considering like all the work put in, and again, as I mentioned, the potential market that existed for him. I felt like maybe he would have more of an opportunity there, but not many other changes. Now there is one thing that I want to talk about in addition, right? I spoke on this briefly, and I know many of you, probably feel the same way, and many of you may have, exemptions to this and say like, well, Bryson Tremaine has played well, and he has, both on special teams. He showed up big on special teams. He also showed up big, in the lineup with a huge catch, reeling one in that was kind of behind him, if I'm being honest, when you watch the tape. But I still don't think that that's a reason why you don't get guys involved. And I'm going to go a step further than just Jimmy Horn, because that's obviously what everybody is wondering. Even David Moore. I think David Moore is someone that should be involved. David Moore and Bryce Young had real chemistry last year, right? And this is no knock on, any other receiver, XL included. I know there's been a lot of conversation about XL this week, primarily sparked by me, which I apologize for yet again. But the reason why I just feel like David Moore and Jimmy Horn, I mean, you just get a different look, right? And I think that's on the horizon. I really do. I know they've got Jimmy Horn listed at, third on the depth chart, behind Xavier Legette and Bryson Tremaine. But when I watch different plays like these sweeps and things like that they're trying with XL that just doesn't look like his game, those kind of plays, in my opinion, are tailor-made for a guy with that kind of speed. And I hope that, like our Bible tells us in Galatians 6, that he doesn't grow weary in well-doing, because he will reap if he doesn't, give up, right? I hope that this isn't killing Jimmy's confidence, thinking like, man, and maybe, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, that hamstring injury, they really want to get him right because they know what he can offer potentially, and it could be something great. Now, I know Dave Canales has said multiple times that his primary thing is that he wants players, especially the fringe players. You're not going to ask Teteroy McMillan. You're not going to ask Xavier Legette, maybe should, or others, to go out and play special teams, right? But I feel like Jimmy is one of those kind of players that he offers something special that this offense just doesn't have, that he should get an opportunity, in my opinion, but who knows? I don't know what's going to happen with that. I hope that, that changes for him at some point soon. I hope he gets an opportunity to really show what he can do. But either way, let me know what you guys think. We got some big changes that have happened. We got Atlanta this week. This does not make me happy about coming into it or coming home for our first opener, the home opener of the season, facing an Atlanta pass rush that looked ferocious against the Minnesota Vikings. James Pierce Jr., someone that we loved on this channel, got drafted there. Jalen Walker, someone that we, liked and respected on this channel, got drafted there, and it looks like it's paying off. So Lord have mercy. Please don't let this pay off in Charlotte, because that makes me worried for this offense. We've already had Bryce turn the ball over in consecutive opening drives, and this is scary, to say the least. But either way, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think below. This is John from the One Carolina Show. As usual, y'all, keep pounding.